All right, let's talk about the king of all exercises, the squat. It is, without a doubt, the single most important movement for building raw strength and power. But here's the thing, it's also one of the easiest to mess up, and getting it wrong can have some pretty serious consequences. So let's break down how to do it right. And you've got to ask yourself this question. Every single time you get under that bar, are you building a stronger, more bulletproof body? Or are you just drilling in a bad habit that's going to lead to pain and injury down the road? The difference, honestly, just comes down to nailing a few key details. So here's our game plan. We are going to tackle the 5 biggest squat mistakes I see all the time. We'll cover depth deception, that dreaded knee cave-in, core collapse, unstable feet, and starting with a faulty foundation. And by the end of this, you're going to have a complete checklist to build a rock-solid, perfect squat.
First up, the most common mistake in literally any gym in the world, not squatting low enough. I call this depth deception. You feel like you're working hard, you're moving big weight, but in reality, you're leaving almost all of the results on the table.
Just look at the difference here. The squat on the left, that's a half rep, an ego lift. Sure, it might let you pile on more plates, but it's putting a ton of stress on your knees and basically ignoring your glutes and hamstrings. Now the fix on the right, that's where the magic happens. Getting your hip crease below your knees, what we call breaking parallel, that's what fully turns on all the muscles in your lower body for maximum growth and real strength. So, how do we fix this? Like today? It's simple. First, check your ego at the door and lower the weight. Form comes first always. Second, film yourself from the side. Your phone is the most honest coach you'll ever have. And third, change your mental cue. Stop thinking sit back onto a chair and start thinking sit down between your heels. That tiny shift is a total game changer. Okay, on to mistake number 2, and listen up because this one's a big deal. It's the dreaded knee cave-in. You might hear trainers call it valgus collapse, which is just a fancy way of saying your knees are drifting inward when they shouldn't be. And it's not just weak, it's a direct path to a serious knee injury. You can see the danger plain as day on this slide. When those knees dive in, it puts this nasty shearing force on the ligaments that hold your knee together. We're talking about your ACL, your MCL. It's bad news. The fix is to actively think about driving your knees out, making sure they stay in line with your feet. This protects the joint and, bonus, lets you produce way more power safely. Here's your action plan. Start by pointing your toes out just a little bit. Then, as you drive up out of the bottom, imagine you are trying to spread the floor apart with your feet. That cue instantly fires up your glutes and pulls your knees out. And if you're still struggling, seriously, grab a light resistance band, loop it just above your knees, and actively push out against it. It's an incredible teaching tool. All right, let's move to our third mistake, the core collapse. Think of your core as the transmission of your squat. If it's not tight, if it's not stable, you're just leaking power all over the place and putting your lower back in a really risky position. Now, to stop this from happening, we need to get good at something called bracing. And no, this is not just sucking in your gut. Bracing is all about taking a massive breath deep into your belly, then locking down every single muscle around your midsection to create this super solid, unbendable cylinder that protects your spine. I mean, just look at the difference. A soft middle, what happens? Your lower back rounds or arches like crazy. It's like trying to fire a cannon from a canoe. All the force you're trying to create with your legs just gets lost, and your spine takes a beating. But a rigid, braced core, that keeps your spine perfectly neutral and safe, and it ensures that 100% of your leg drive goes right into moving that bar. You can master this right now. Before every single rep, do this. Take a huge breath into your stomach, fill up your belly, not your chest. Then brace your abs hard, like you're about to get punched. Hold that breath, hold that tension, all the way down, and as you drive back up, you only breathe out and reset at the very top. Okay, let's talk about the foundation of the entire lift. Mistake number 4 is trying to build your squat on shaky ground. Specifically, I'm talking about letting your heels come up off the floor. So when your heels lift up, and this is usually because of tight ankles, your whole center of gravity shifts forward. This makes you super unstable and dumps a bunch of unnecessary stress right onto your knees. The fix is to create what's called a tripod foot. I want you to imagine 3 points of contact: your heel, the ball of your big toe, and the ball of your little toe. Your job is to keep pressure on all 3 of those points the entire time. How do you do this? First, a great mental cue is to think about gripping the floor with your entire foot, like you're trying to grab it. Second, here's a visual cue. Just try to keep your shoelaces right over the middle of your foot for the whole lift. Now, if your ankles are just really tight, don't sweat it. You can temporarily put some small plates under your heels. It's a great short-term fix while you work on improving your ankle mobility. All right, let's get to our final mistake. And this is one that happens before you even begin the lift. Starting with a full T foundation. Using the wrong squat stance for your body. Let me be perfectly clear about this. There is no single perfect squat stance that works for every single person. It doesn't exist. We all have different hip structures. If you try to force a stance that's too wide or too narrow for your body, you're going to feel pinching in your hips and it's going to kill your depth. The whole goal is to find the stance that feels strong, stable, and comfortable for you. And finding it is actually pretty easy. Start here, feet about shoulder width apart, toes pointed out just a little bit. Now just do a few bodyweight squats. How does it feel? Is it smooth? Do you feel stuck? Now play with it. Go a little wider, a little narrower. Turn your toes out more. The position that lets you hit depth with the most stability and comfort, that's it. That's your squat stance. Okay, so we have torn apart the 5 biggest mistakes. Now, let's put it all back together into a super simple checklist you can run through in your head before every single set you do. Here it is, your 5-point checklist for the perfect squat. Burn this into your brain. Number 1, stance. Find your ideal setup. Number 2, feet. Get that tripod pressure, keep those heels glued down. 3, core. Big belly breath in, brace like you mean it. 4, knees. As you squat, drive them out. And 5, depth. Hip crease has to go below the knee. Master these 5 points and you will build an unbelievably safe, strong, and powerful squat. Look, fixing your squat, it's about so much more than just lifting more weight. It's about building a foundation of strength that literally carries over into every other thing you do, in the gym and in life. You now have the blueprint. You have the tools to master this movement. So the only question left is, what are you going to build with all that newfound strength?